Thank you. Thanks for your time, and it's my pleasure now to introduce Donna B., my neighbor at the celebration, and my neighbor in Idaho, about 50 miles away, and that's close. Donna B.
Excellent.
Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Donna Bernstein, and yes, I do live in Idaho, but I'm originally from New York, and I think that that combination has been very important in my development as an artist. To give you a little context, I was one of those girls that we are so familiar with who was horse crazy. When I first, as long as I can remember, I was always connected to this animal. People say, when did you choose to paint horses, which is my main subject, I would say. But there was no choice. It was always there. It was not a decision made. It was something that I was always connected to. So I would study the bones and the muscles and learn about their care and watch them. But I never drew them when I was watching them. I would go home and watch them later. And now, years later, I see that all of that time spent has created almost a photographic library in my heart and in my imagination that allows me now to create horses that are, I feel, a full expression of the energy that I feel when I see them. And I think that this is what I'm painting and also sculpting. A lot of my work has been developed by being focused on that animal and then moving through a variety of textures, forms, mediums in order to express it. So that when you come to my booth at Celebration, you might see a work done purely in ink, you might see a work in acrylics, you'll see a piece of sculpture, and you'll see pencil drawings. And it's this combination, I think, that gives my work a sense of freedom and an edge that always, as I'm creating, I'm not always sure where that piece is taking me. I like to say that every painting and every creation of mine is a little bit of a bareback ride, and we're kind of on it together. And I'm not really sure where it's going, so there's a piece of me that has to let it happen. Skip all the O's, I'm sorry about that. Let me think. And I'm also going to probably bring with me maybe a couple of sketches to look at and a couple of small pieces that shows a little variety. I also like to work very large scale. I have a sense that being almost the life-size horse expresses that kind of energy that I feel when I'm seeing them. My challenge, I feel, is to always be creating them in new and different ways. So when people will say to me, oh, you're an artist, what do you paint? And I say, well, I mostly paint horses. I tend to be specific and say, but it's not traditional. That's the next part of my description. I don't use pictures. I'm not necessarily painting scenes, but I am painting an element of an artistic endeavor that is fully expressive and in a way very organic. Many people relate my paintings to cave paintings, which I find very important because they are an important inspiration to me. And if people are seeing that, it means I've captured that primal element, which is what I'm looking for. This is a piece that I can create. I might work here and do something when I'm talking and just let it flow onto the page, something like that.
That would be good.
And just explain how that could be the beginning. The sketching is always the beginning. So often I could do drawings and sketches, whether they're on the floor, small paper, big paper. It all feels like, for me, a physical warm-up. There's a real physical element to my work. It's almost like a singer that's singing the notes, she's warming up and moving into that space, and then you start to get a sense of what it is that's going to appear on the canvas, on the paper, and who that horse is going to be. Every horse has its own personality, its own attitude, its own shape and form that's cohesive to that horse. And I seem to, so far, not run out of personalities and images that I find tremendous joy in creating. One of the newest things I've worked on is a technique that I've just recently started to play with, which includes working with resins and painting in the resin, on top of the resin, layering it again and again, and it seems to recreate that elemental feeling that when someone looks at this, they just get a feeling of the freedom, the energy, and not necessarily a constricted sense of space. I think that sometimes the openness of my paintings leaves room almost moving off the page. And that sense of expansiveness, it's bigger than what you see on here, but you know it's there. And that's what gives the work its sense of movement, its sense of individuality, and for me, a real sense of joy in creating it.
Excellent.